I know this isn't your normal Monday video, but possibly there's something like that coming along later in the week. Who knows? Also, yes, I've got new glasses, so go ahead. Let me hear it in the chat. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, moving on. Anyways, I've been meaning to make this video for some time, but it isn't as simple as, hey, turn this switch off. This needs to be a bit of an explainer. You see, this button, the stable audio switch, is ruining your experience watching audio-based YouTube videos, but it's not for the reason you might think. And this kind of ties in with all the YouTube compression conversations that have been happening over the years. Yes, YouTube does a variety of things to your YouTube audio when you upload it, which is why it's important to upload the best quality audio to the platform to begin with. And really, there are three things that happen to your audio once you do upload it. You've got bitrate compression, dynamic compression, and a limiter for a relatively consistent listening experience channel to channel. Now, if you want a tangible view of what YouTube compression really does, MKBHD did a cool video showing off that very thing by re-uploading a video 1,000 times. Now, he focuses on the video aspect, but he does touch on the audio, and it is a fascinating experiment. I'm going to link that down below. Now, perhaps we can do a similar experiment and focus on the audio. Let me know if you'd watch that. Anyways, out of these three compressions that YouTube does to your audio, the bitrate compression and the limiter have the biggest impact. The bitrate basically takes your audio and reduces the amount of information in it, and the limiter basically gains it up and chops off some of the dynamic range to give it a perceived loudness. But that dynamic compression isn't really as harsh as you might think. Now, that is basically a compression to make the loudest and the softest sounds be closer together. But even with all that said, what if I told you that the differences weren't as bad as everyone thinks? Now, I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, so then let's take a look at the evidence. This file here is my original audio from the video $4,000 mic versus $50 mic, and this was the audio before it was uploaded. Right below that, we're going to place the downloaded version off of YouTube. Now again, yes, the bitrate compression is the biggest factor in comparing, though it isn't as easy to see. Not going to go super deep into the comparisons, but let's focus on one of the richer parts of the episode where I played the guitar. Now you can see a few of the changes and a bit of the compression, but the biggest change here is probably where you can see the limiter kicking in. Overall though, it's rather gentle, at least visually. And that's the thing about compression. If nothing else, you can see it, especially when it gets aggressive. So basically, outside of the bitrate compression, which even then, outside of some of the most trained ears, I bet many couldn't tell the difference between them, the changes here are quite light. So then, let's flip that stable audio switch and see what happens. And this is where the issues really do start to pop up. First and foremost, those initial two processes are there, the bitrate compression and the limiting. But now the compression has been ramped way up. Now the audio is starting to resemble an audio sausage. Now to give you an idea of how much this has changed, let's look at one part between 229-ish and 235-ish. And you're going to see a massive difference in the waveforms. Now that is a big issue if you're ever listening to something like, say, a microphone comparison. But why, you might ask? Well, there are several factors at play here, but the most important one is that people put higher values on sounds they perceive as louder, which means if you are altering the perceived loudness of a signal by boosting it or by compressing the louder signals, you are therefore altering the outcome of a comparison. The dynamics of a microphone are pretty important in determining the quality of said microphone. So when you take these dynamics away, well, you end up with issues, and most of those issues are in your own brain. Now, if you are new to this channel, you may have missed it, but I put these concepts under the microscope with a few videos I did several months back. Now, they upset a lot of people, but they are well worth a watch if you want to learn about the relationship between your ears and your brain. I would suggest starting with the NT1 versus the U87 AI video, and then the results video, finishing off with the video I titled, "Everything You Know About Audio is All Wrong." Again, many feelings were hurt in the production of those videos, but you will be happy to know zero were given, so they stayed safe. But if you can't be bothered, let me sum it up in as few words as possible. When you alter the dynamics of a mic, even as little as a simple 2 dB boost, it will alter the perception of a microphone. So when you have two microphones side by side and they end up with audio sausage treatment, well, that may just overload your brain. Okay then, what does all this mean for you, dear viewer? Well, first and foremost, if you want the best experience while watching mic comparisons, turn off the stable volume. You do that by hitting settings in the video, then just toggle stable volume off. Now, the next thing you may need to know is if you are uploading any kind of content to YouTube, you want to make sure you're uploading the absolute best quality so it gives you the best possible quality once YouTube sends it through the compression. But not to be lost in any of this is also that the original YouTube compression really wasn't all that bad. I mean, it was there, but it's kind of barely noticeable. So perhaps we do that multi-upload comparison to see how far the audio degrades over time. Maybe that's interesting for you. Let me know if that's something you want to see. So cheers, guys, and thanks for watching.